Hello, I am PENGY, and welcome to the video.
Hello and welcome to the video. This is PENGY main file, and this is where all the magic happens for the voice interaction side. So before we begin, I'd like to say that this voice interaction was created with a Google API, which basically made it easier for me to coding text-to-speech and coding to recognize what people are saying, which I'm going to go into a little bit of detail now. So basically what we're doing is we're importing certain files, which I explain in my report and I've commented here. The main file that we're going to import is from a cloudspeech.py, the cloud speech client class. Now this class contains a recognizer function, which you can see in here. Bear in mind, this recognizer function was not written by me. This was taken from a Google API, and what this recognizer function does is it basically stores what the user is saying. So it can store what the user is saying and we can convert that to a string. The get hints function is basically saying the things that we can say to PENGY. If we scroll down here, I think we use it right about here. Yep, so we say the client variable is now equal to this class, and we define it by a text variable, and we get that class and we get the function inside, which is the recognize function. So now everything the user has said is going to be stored in this variable. So if text has nothing in it, it means that you've said nothing. If you have said something, it will say you said and then display the string which is inside the text. If we scroll down here to the introduction function, if the user has said hello in text, that means if the user has said hello, we want this to happen. So we want the board light to blink. Okay, so basically what the board is the LED that was supplied with the kit, and this LED sits on top of my hat and this will blink. And then we will say, hello, I am PENGY, what is your name? The reason PENGY spelled like this is because it had a bit of trouble saying its own name. And then if we go down here to my name is in text, we use a replace function and we store it in this variable called to repeat. So my name is going to be replaced with the next thing that's said. So if I say my name is Bradley, Bradley is going to be in here and it's going to replace what my name is. So this way we can say hello to repeat, which stores the word Bradley. So it's going to say hello Bradley, nice to meet you. And that's how we start off by basically making an introduction function onto PENGY.
Hello.
Hello, I am Needy. What is your name?
My name is Alan.
Hello, Alan. Nice to meet you.
So this is the timer function which we just saw. So this timer function is run off two functions. One function is check time, the other function is allow speak. I'll explain why we use two functions in just a minute. But we're going to take in allow time, which is a global variable which I place on the top of the script, which is set to true. We're then going to grab what the time is. So this is, then we're going to place it into this variable. So it can change the hour and the minute. So if the time is 12:30 and allow time is true, please run this code. So once it's 12:30 in the day, set allow time to now false. Okay? And now we're going to let it say the time is, we use this string variable to display what the date time now is. So we say the time is 12:30, time to take your tablet. And then we're going to move the servo. So we're going to set up the servo, which is on pin 13, and we're going to turn it to an output. And then we're going to use pulse width modulation, which is pin 13, and it's got a frequency of 50. And then it's going to start at 0, sleep for a bit, and then move that servo 70.5%, meaning it's just going to move it just that little bit that pushes it off. And then we're going to sleep it, and then we're going to stop. So that's just going to stop the servo there, so it's going to go and then stop. And then we can now run this function which takes in the allow time. And now because the allow time is false, we can then turn it back to true. The reason we need to turn this back to true is because this function will not run again. The reason I've made this global variable allow time is because if we run this code now and we say if the time is 12:30 do this, that means that the code will always say the time is 12:30, time to take your tablet for that whole minute. It's going to keep saying that, it's going to keep saying that, it's going to keep saying that until it goes to 12:31 and then it cannot say that. So basically why I've invented this function is we can say if allow time is false, so once that person has said it and it's gone past 7 seconds, then turn it back to true. And then
The time is 12:43 p.m. Time to take your tablet.
Thank you, Pengy.
So I'm using the Open Weather Map API to do this. And what the Open Weather Map has done is it supplied me with a unique API key, which I supply in the URL here. And with this URL, if I type this into the web browser, and after the equals, if I type in any destination, say I type in London, it will then display me all the weather data for London. So now what I wanted to do is I wanted to somehow get the data from what the user has said and place it here. So how I did this was I invented another repeat variable and used the replace function. So if the user says what is the temperature in London, London will then replace what is the temperature in, meaning now that to repeat is storing London. So we combine these two things. So now I can write this URL and at the end I can place it with London. And this will display me with the JSON format data. And I explain more about this in my report, but basically what I want from this is I want the temperature. And once I've got the temperature, it displayed it in Fahrenheit, and I wanted to convert this to Celsius. So how I do this is I take away the value of 273.15 and I round that number. This is basically just the equation from converting any Fahrenheit to Celsius. So now what Pengy can say is the temperature in London, which is stored here, is, and now the temperature, say it was 19, the temperature is 19, and then finishes off with degrees.
What is the temperature in Toronto?
The temperature in Toronto is 16 degrees.
Once again, if the player says play a game, run this bit of code, and Pengy will then say, okay, let's play a game. Can you name all the counties in England? Begin. 3, 2, 1, go. And then we're going to make a boolean is true. Now this boolean basically is used to continue a conversation. Okay, so now we're in play a game. So now this boolean, which was called before, is now true. So we're inside the game now because boolean is true. And then we're going to gather whatever someone says in text, and we're going to place it in here. Okay, so we're basically gathering what the person has said. And now we want to continue the code. The reason we continue the code is because we don't want someone to say anything here and then Pengy say something. We only want him to say something once play a game is said. So we're basically continuing the conversation. And now what we're going to do is we're going to open up a file called words.py, which is right here, if I have it. Yep, I have it here. And in this file, it basically just contains all the counties in England. And what we're going to do is we're going to then loop through all the counties. So what it's going to do is it's going to loop through and read every line of those. Now for here, basically when we're looping through all these lines, we're going to see if I is in text, meaning if someone has said anything inside that file, say this, and it will say well done, now name another. And this will continue to go on. This will continue to go on and continue to go on. And how we do this is we say the status is true. If it's not in text, so if they have said something that isn't inside that file, we want this status to become false. And once this status is false, we can say that's not right, game over, and the game will end.
Can we play a game?
Okay, let's play the game. Can you name all the counties in England? 3, 2, 1, go.
Essex.
Well done, now name another one.
Lancashire.
Well done, now name another one.
Cornwall.
Well done, now name another one.
That's amazing. Devon.
Well done, now name another one.
East Sussex.
That's not right.
Oh,
Game over.
Sophie, we got you. I remember a game of categories.